Picture this. You're driving completely alone through the pitch-black Nevada desert, just mindlessly scanning the AM radio dials late at night. It's the year 2025, and you suddenly land on this absolutely wild interview. You're listening to a 76-year-old man who is finally, after decades of absolute dead silence, telling a story he swore he would take to his grave. He's talking about this impossible, glowing casino out in the Black Sands, a place where literally no roads lead and where the currency, well, it isn't cash. It's something far, far more precious.
That man on the radio is Vincent Hale. He's a Korean War veteran, a former blackjack dealer, and the only person to ever publicly claim that he actually survived the Red Valley Casino. Because you see, this isn't just your standard campfire ghost story. It's a chilling, deeply psychological puzzle designed specifically to trap human regret. Okay, let's dive into this explainer and unpack exactly what happened to him out there.
Part 1. The Legend of Red Valley. Now, this Phantom Casino is something mostly known in hushed whispers among older locals and long-haul truckers. They say it's a place that just manifests out of the darkness right after midnight, completely off the grid where no highways actually go. Part 2. A night in 1982. So, let's go back. It's August 1982, and a 33-year-old Vincent is driving north across an absolutely empty highway, and he is at absolute rock bottom. I mean, he owes a terrifying amount of money to some very dangerous people in Vegas, his marriage is completely falling apart, and honestly, he's just running on fumes.
And then, literally out of nowhere, these massive neon lights just shatter the darkness. The black sand is suddenly lit up in these vibrant glowing colors, and there's this towering sign reading, Red Valley Casino, open all night. Now, Vincent had driven this exact route for years. Nothing had ever existed here. But right in that moment, this soft, hypnotic 1950s jazz is drifting through the stifling desert heat and is just pulling him right in.
He pulls into a parking lot that's entirely filled with old vintage Cadillacs. But the moment he steps inside, it's like he just walked into a frozen photograph. There are women in silver dresses, men in sharp tuxedos, but nobody is blinking. Not a single person. The valet's smile is just stretched a bit too wide, you know? The musicians up on stage are playing, but the song never actually changes. And now what's really interesting about this slide is this final detail. Everywhere he looks, every single clock on the wall is permanently stopped at exactly 2:11 a.m.
Almost immediately, this tall, incredibly beautiful hostess with a perfectly fixed smile walks right up to him. She doesn't ask for his ID, she doesn't offer him a drink comp. She simply leans in and whispers, "Welcome back." Vincent is totally confused. He tells her he's never been there before, but she just tilts her head, that smile never wavering for a second, and says, "Yes, you have." It's this terrifying, sinking realization for him that this place, it knows him. It's been waiting for him.
Part 3. The Casino of Past Mistakes. He walks out onto this massive floor that seems to stretch impossibly far into the distance.
Feeling completely unnerved, Vincent sits down at a blackjack table. And guys, here is where the story delivers its first massive emotional gut punch. He looks up at the dealer, and it's his father, a man who had been dead for 14 years. And he's wearing the exact same gray suit he was buried in. The brutal truth underlying this is that Vincent secretly blamed his father for teaching him how to gamble when he was just a kid, which ultimately destroyed his life. This casino wasn't just some spooky building, it was literally weaponizing his own deepest, darkest resentments against him.
Suddenly, the overhead lights violently flicker. Just for a fraction of a second, the whole glamorous illusion drops. Everyone in that room has pale gray skin, pitch black eyes, and these unnaturally wide mouths. Then snap, the lights are back. A cocktail waitress walks up and hands Vincent a glass filled with this thick black liquid. Her hands are just shaking violently. He looks down at her hand and he sees his wife's wedding ring. He looks up, and beneath that casino uniform is his wife's face. But it's older. She looks exhausted. Tears are streaming down her cheeks, and she whispers in this broken, hollow voice, "You stayed too long."
Right at that exact second, the hypnotic jazz music cuts out completely. Just dead silence drops over this massive room. Every single gambler at the tables slowly turns their head in total unison to stare directly at Vincent. And then a new sound starts up. The slot machines. They aren't playing those upbeat casino jingles. Instead, they are emitting thousands of overlapping, whispering human voices. Voices weeping over lost marriages, suicides, inescapable, crushing debts. The machines are literally feeding on human failure.
Part 4. Playing against yourself. Total panic sets in now, and Vincent just bolts. He's running deeper and deeper into the maze of the casino, desperately trying to find an exit. But reality and time itself are fundamentally broken in here.
He finally bursts through a set of double doors into the high roller room, but the high rollers aren't just empty sleepwalkers like the others. They are completely pale, motionless statues. Thick layers of dust coat their tailored suits, and this brilliantly illustrates the pure horror of the place. They have literal skeleton hands, gripping playing cards tightly against the green felt. They're dead. They've been dead for years, just trapped in an eternal, frozen game, while the roulette wheels beside them just keep spinning and spinning.
Out of the shadows, right behind him, the dealer steps out, his dead father. He looks at Vincent with this sickeningly sweet, inviting smile and says, "You can leave whenever you want. Just one more game." Suddenly, a single poker table illuminates under these blindingly bright overhead lights. The trap is officially set. Vincent, feeling completely cornered, slowly sits down. He looks across the table to see his opponent for this final, impossible hand. And it isn't a demon, it's not some horrible monster. Sitting right across from him is an older, painfully thin, empty-eyed version of Vincent himself. And this future self just stares right through him and whispers, "You already lost."
Part 5. Escape through time. In a sudden surge of absolute primal terror, Vincent just flips the table. Every single light bulb in the massive casino explodes at the exact same time. Pitch darkness completely swallows the room. A deafening, violent vibration shakes the floorboards, almost like something impossibly huge is waking up deep, deep underground. And, cutting through all that chaos, the hostess's voice shrieks out across the dark. The house never closes.
Vincent runs completely blind, just shoulder-checking his way through the pitch black, until he finally crashes into the cold concrete pillars of the parking garage. But it's not the valet lot he parked in earlier. It's a graveyard, a literal parking garage of the dead. Dozens of 1960s cars are sitting there half buried in the sand, completely rusted out, and inside those vehicles are skeletons. Their bony hands are still gripping the steering wheels, and their empty eye sockets are forever facing the casino entrance, just waiting to go back inside.
He frantically searches the rows and finally spots his own car. But it's all wrong. It looks like it's been sitting out there for decades. The hood is rusted entirely through, the windows are spiderwebbed with cracks, the seats are literally overflowing with desert sand. But the most horrifying detail of all is hanging right from his rearview mirror. It's a funeral card, and staring right back at him from that card is Vincent's own photograph. Deep below the concrete floor, the slot machines start ringing again. It's this massive, rhythmic pounding coming from right under the earth. Vincent forces the old engine to turn over, slams on the gas, and drives blindly out into the black desert. He just drove until the sun finally breached the horizon, and when he looked back, the casino was gone, completely vanished. But his reality was completely broken. Think about it. He went in at 2:11 a.m. He thought he was inside for maybe a few hours. But when the highway patrol finally found him staggering along the asphalt, it was 11 days later.
11 missing days. That's insane, right? He was found almost 60 miles away from where he supposedly parked. Now, the doctors, of course, coldly and clinically wrote the whole thing off. They blamed severe dehydration, heat stroke, and the extreme psychological stress of his failing marriage and those massive gambling debts. They said he simply wandered out into the desert hallucinating. Nobody believed a single word of his story. But the thing is, the desert didn't forget. Over the next few decades, random drivers would occasionally report seeing phantom neon lights out where there are absolutely no towns. People claim they could hear faint jazz music drifting across completely empty stretches of highway. And then, in 2011, a group of hikers made a deeply chilling discovery. Buried under the sand near the Red Valley Basin, they dug up dozens of old, heavy casino chips, and perfectly printed on every single one of them was the exact same phrase, "The house always remembers."
Part 6. The final question. Let's jump back to that 2025 interview.
So Vincent is 76 years old now. He has never stepped foot inside a casino since that terrible night in 1982. He flat out refuses to even carry cash in his pockets after midnight, because he says even now, decades later, when his house gets perfectly quiet, he swears he can still hear those slot machines ringing through the drywall. The late-night radio host is absolutely captivated by this ordeal, and he leans into the microphone. Slowly, very deliberately, he asks the big question we're all thinking right now. He says, "Vincent, do you think Red Valley Casino was hell? Was it the literal underworld?"
The radio broadcast goes completely silent. Just a long,
incredibly heavy pause filling the airwaves. 1 second goes by. Then 2, 3 full seconds of dead, empty air. Vincent Hale just stares out past the host, looking deep into the dark glass of the studio window, and then, very quietly, he utters a single word with this hollow, bone-chilling dread. No.
The host frowns, leans in closer, and asks, "Then what was it?" But Vincent, he doesn't answer. And as the interview fades out, it leaves us with an incredibly disturbing thought. The drama of this whole thing hinges on that silence. Because if Red Valley wasn't hell, what exactly is the massive, ancient thing actually sleeping beneath the Nevada sand? Something that feeds on human regret, just waiting for the perfect moment to turn on its neon lights. So the key takeaway here: next time you're driving an empty desert highway late at night and you hear the soft ringing of slot machines in the dark, maybe just step on the gas and keep driving.